New York, to Sao Paulo, to Moscow, to Mumbai, to Ahmedabad, to Delhi, to Chennai. Cities across the globe are the biggest hostages of the pandemic. Mumbai, Delhi and Chennai account for 44% of India's total cases, while Ahmedabad beats all Indian cities with the highest case fatality rate. Why is the coronavirus anti-urban? The Contagion and the India City. On To The Point this evening.
Good evening, you're watching To The Point. I'm Preeti Chaudhary. Our top focus, of course, we're going to get to that story in just a short while from now, on the biggest economic drivers in India are our cities. If they continue to remain locked up because the contagion is taking such a huge and steady toll on these cities, how unlocking? We're going to get to that story later, but first up, let me quickly take you to that big political story we are focusing on right on top of the show this evening. Well, there's never, if you go by political history, there's never quite a bad time to play politics on poor. There was a huge debate which started when the government announced an economic stimulus. Questions were raised on why direct cash transfers were not made to the poor, to the migrants. The Prime Minister said that the go-to word from now on would be Atmanirbhar. It's reared its head again. Rahul Gandhi today used a very, very crass line where he said that he was apparently told by sources within the government that गरीबों को पैसा दोगे तो बिगड़ जाएंगे. Take a look at the story.
As a pandemic took economic hold, many slowly lost jobs. Businesses closed down temporarily. Others declared bankruptcies, and the system just did not seem to have the economic muscle to hold out. A perfect storm. For politics over poverty. A 20 lakh crore economic stimulus package was announced by the government. The debate began on why no direct money transfer to the poor. The opposition capitalized. On Thursday, Rahul Gandhi made the most stinging accusation on why the government did not give direct money to the poor.
A couple of days back, I sent a feeler to some of the government people. I said, I don't understand why you're not giving a stimulus. And the response I got, it was a couple bullet points. Point number one, there is a huge opportunity for India with regards to China. Point number two, if we give a handout to our labor now, bigad jayenge, basically, they will get spoiled and they will not come back from their villages. Point number three, we might send a wrong message to the international community who we will need to invest in us. And point number four, later we might consider giving money to these laborers and small and medium businesses. Image is based on strength. Strength can never be based on image. But here,
I understand.
You're defending the image and you're destroying the strength.
The line that stuck was Garib Bigad Jate. If direct cash transfers were made, the laborers would have got spoiled and not returned from villages. Alleged Rahul of the government's thought process, bringing to the fore the entire debate on dole and being Atmanirbhar.
प्रवासी मजदूरों को देखते हुए बहुत कुछ नए कदम उठाना भी आवश्यक हो गया है और हम लगातार उस दिशा में आगे बढ़ रहे हैं. जैसे कहीं श्रमिकों की स्किल मैपिंग का काम हो रहा है, कहीं स्टार्टअप्स इस काम में जुटे हैं, कहीं माइग्रेशन कमीशन बनाने की बात हो रही है। इसके अलावा केंद्र सरकार ने अभी जो फैसले लिए हैं उससे भी गांवों में रोजगार, स्वरोजगार, लघु उद्योगों से जुड़ी विशाल संभावनाएं खुली हैं। ये फैसले इन स्थितियों के समाधान के लिए हैं, आत्मनिर्भर भारत के लिए हैं। अगर हमारे गांव आत्मनिर्भर होते, हमारे कस्बे, हमारे जिले, हमारे राज्य आत्मनिर्भर होते, तो अनेक समस्याओं ने वो रूप नहीं लिया होता जिस रूप में वो आज हमारे सामने खड़ी है।
A time-tested formula of populism, fiscal handouts for the less privileged, is back in focus. Was this the need of the hour in a crippling, unprecedented pandemic? Or the way forward is being Atmanirbhar? We leave it for our viewers to decide. Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, so we do leave it for our viewers to decide. Political handouts are often said to be economically unsavvy. But these were unprecedented times. This was not an election. This didn't happen before an election. Should that direct cash transfer have been made to our migrants, or do you believe that they needed to be Atmanirbhar? Well, we leave it for our viewers to decide, as I said, but I want to get to our political debate and that big question there. I want to pose the same question. I have Tom Wadakan from the Bharatiya Janata Party. I have Professor Gaurav Vallabh from the Congress. Mr. Wadakan, अगर कैश ट्रांसफर होता तो जो गरीब मजदूर हैं वो बिगड़ जाते, वापस अपने गांव से नहीं आते. डू यू एग्री विद दैट?
ये कहता कौन है? This is sources according to Rahul Gandhi. You believe his sources? You think the cabinet or anybody would leak out any information of this variety? Have they gone mad? The point is, Rahul Gandhi is in a world of his own. I read the script. I didn't have the pleasure of listening to it. He says, you apply a full lockdown, you're changing the nature of the disease. That is, you're changing the nature of the disease from a non-fatal disease to a fatal disease. Have you heard anything of this kind? In India, you are 2 lakhs and counting, okay, in terms of deaths. And not in terms of death, but in terms of the infection. And these are the figures. Internationally, you have figures. And he says this is a non-fatal thing and that he believes in it. Now, if you want to believe everything Rahul Gandhi says, then you have to be a very, very loyal congressman. I mean, I'm fortunate. I don't believe that Rahul Gandhi has any authority to say what he says without proof to prove it. He goes and positions himself with different intellectuals, thinking that grafting their brain to his brain would be not a brand positioning, but would be a brain positioning. That's unfortunate. And that's what people are reading about. He wants to be a journalist, but what he doesn't understand, Preeti, you know more of economics than some of these newfound love for journalism. I have great respect for journalists. And let me tell you something.
Well,
that this kind of
Mr. Wadakan, I don't want to, get into who knows more. Okay, Mr. Wadakan, I don't want to get into who knows more, but I'm going to take your question directly to. I want to take the question directly to Professor Vallabh. Professor Vallabh, what sources are you quoting? What is Rahul Gandhi saying when he says my sources within the government tells me अगर पैसा दिया होता तो मजदूर बिगड़ जाते?
So why don't Mr. Wadakan tell us today on the show that why the cash transfer was not there? People are dying because of starvation, and you are saying we will not transfer. Korea is transferring, Japan is transferring, America is transferring, England is transferring, name the country, Malaysia is transferring. You are saying we will not do. Then there are only 4 reasons. Please keep quiet. Keep quiet.
Mr. Wadakan, let's go one by one. Please, let's go one by one. Respect the sanctity of the debate. Please, can we hear Professor Vallabh, and I'll come to Mr. Wadakan. Professor Vallabh, complete.
So what I'm trying to say is that if they are having any other reason for not transferring, then share tonight in front of your viewers. UK had transferred, US had transferred, Singapore transferred, Malaysia transferred. Everybody is transferring money in the bank accounts of their citizens. And now you are saying we will not transfer, and that is your own sources. And if you don't believe in these sources, Mr. Vadakkan, give us the solid reason that why you had not transferred in the bank accounts of the laborers, in the bank accounts of the farmers, in the bank account of the middle income group guys who lost their jobs, because as per PMI data, 24% is the unemployment rate as on May 31st, 2020. As per PMI, the production is not going to gear up for next 3 months. That is the data which is shown as per Center for Monitoring of Indian Economy and Purchasing Managers Index, which clearly indicate that production is not gearing up for next 3 months. Then why you are not transferring? If you don't believe in these 4 reasons, then the guy from the BJP should share that what is the reason why you are not sharing.
Manya Professor Gaurav
All right,
Valla.
okay. Now, Mr. Vadakkan, the question I want to ask you, can I ask you? No, Mr. Vadakkan, the question I want to ask you is, nobody is really a big fan of populism. Nobody is a big fan of political handouts. But these are not elections. These are unprecedented times. Do you think at a time like this, maybe Atmanirbharta could actually even take place? So why not make that cash transfer?
How many accounts were opened by this Honorable Professor Vallabh's party, Congress party? 70 years, the largest number of bank accounts were opened. How much of money was transferred? He knows the statistics. Why is he asking me a question? It is in public domain. The finance minister has spoken about it. The prime minister has spoken about it. Now, if this absent-minded professor doesn't remember those figures, what do I do? These are figures in public domain that have been put out. And what is he talking about? American transfer. You know something? The money has been transferred in US to some of the wrong accounts. And we have a very tight system of our banking system which has been established. And even the money, it has been transferred to Indian citizens who are studying there. That is the American kind of transfer. It's in public domain. If this absent-minded professor doesn't know his figures, I think he should have a refreshing course in economics before coming to me on a public debate.
Okay.
So Preeti,
okay, but before I go back to Professor Vallabh, I want to come back to the question which I posed, Mr. Vadakkan. That is, these were unprecedented times. Atmanirbharta or self-reliance really wasn't an option for a lot of people. This wasn't a handout given during an election. So why not exercise that is the question that is being put forth.
Preeti, self-reliance is not for a individual. It is for this country. The Prime Minister's speech was very, very clear. He's talking about this country being self-reliant. And what's wrong in being self-reliant? As virtue, every citizen should be self-reliant. That's an additional point. But the Prime Minister was very candid. He said, look, this country has to be self-reliant. And you saw the material that we produce, the ventilators we produce, the masks that we produce, and a short notice.
Okay.
And self-reliance is important. This professor must understand. Self-reliance was not for the migrant laborers he stirred out of the city. It is relevant for the country as such. And that is what this professor is missing.
Can I, Preeti?
Okay. All right. Okay. So, Professor Vallabh, now Congress has over years built a lot of their politics on populism. I'm sure you'd agree with that as well. Now, if you continue doing that, then how does the country prosper at a time like this when the country is cash strapped, then to make these cash transfers? How does that even work out?
Preeti, first thing I asked a question that why you had not transferred. He changed that we had opened a bank account. So he had not given the answer to my question. My second question, this is an extraordinary time. This is a pandemic situation. You have to give money in the hands of the people so that a new demand should be generated, new employment should be created, new consumption should come up, and the economy's wheels should be rotated. That is what is the idea of cash transfer. My third thing, he is telling Atmanirbhar, yes, Mr. Vadakkan, your party had made Farzi ventilator in Gujarat. You are talking about ventilator, na? The guy who gifted that Modi suit, na? That company had supplied fake ventilators in the state of Gujarat, Mr. Vadakkar. You had raised the point of PPE, the Himachal Pradesh BJP president. You might not be aware of that person, Mr. Vadakkar, because you are new. So BJP's Himachal Pradesh president has to resign because his audio got viral about the corruption in the case of purchase of the PPE and the mask, Mr. Vadakkar. You are not aware of this thing. Please refresh your data before coming to these type of public debates. Now, fourth point.
Professor,
please,
you
please,
are
please, I am not, please don't disturb.
Let's go one by one, please, sir. I'll come to you. Mr. Vadakkar, I promise I'll come to you.
Don't disturb. Then the fourth point.
Make your point. Mr. Vallabh, make your point.
Yeah, he's telling that we had made Atmanirbhar. You had not made us Atmanirbhar. You are telling that country should become Karz Nirbhar. And for making ourselves Karz Nirbhar, you had made our banks and financial institutions Paramatma Nirbhar. 2 banks had already went to Paramatma, Yes Bank.
Okay, but Professor Vallabh,
so, please,
Professor Vallabh, away from the rhetoric, I posed a question to Mr. Vadakkar. I want to ask you that same question. Congress over decades built their politics on populism. If this was the way to go, especially at this time, how will the country actually get out of this economic crisis?
Preeti, when there is an extraordinary time, you have to take extraordinary measures. You have to think that how people are going to buy grains. You have to think that how people are going to pay electricity bills. You have to think that the people who are losing their jobs, how they are going to survive. And today, these economic concepts that rating is going to come down, you had not given a single penny, but Moody's had reduced your rating now. So don't be in that. The image is not important. The people, what we are, and how we are going to sustain in this pandemic, that is important. Please don't move behind a false image. You are going in a wrong direction. Give new demand in the hands of the people of our country. Give new employment opportunity in the hands of the people of our country. Unemployment rate is 24%, all-time high, and it is not reducing month by month. The purchasing managers index, whether it's the manufacturing sector, service sector, is all-time low. Please do something.
If he has finished, can I?
Okay, now final comment, Mr. Vadakkar, I'll get you in on this. Unprecedented times demanded unprecedented measures. If you can do it in the time of election, why not now?
Preeti, this is very strange. Either this man is not watching the media or reading the newspapers. The finance minister of this country has come out with packages. I'm not going into the account of the packages, where it went or how it went. There have been packages. If the gentleman is come on television to tell us he has not heard about it, I'm shocked. And as to the question of ventilators, let me assure him, his entire Congress party is on ventilator. We can offer them because we have enough. Let me repeat, enough of ventilators. We have enough of masks. We have done it. And as to the question of self-reliance, it's a goal to be achieved, not to be achieved whenever Congress sees the light of the day. Congress is over. Mr. Vallabh, you please understand this. If you want to advise your party leader, please advise him. You make a good advisor to him. But if he goes and talks to people and interviews people, I'm sorry, the country is going to see through this grain. It is not a question of brand positioning. It is a question of brain positioning.
I have to close the show. Can I close the show? I hope both of you had your say.
30 seconds, that's all.
20 seconds, Gaurav. 20 seconds, Gaurav Vallabh, and please stick to the time.
I will stick to the time. He is telling that fudgy ventilator is not there. Then what the hell the newspapers are publishing? Why your president of Himachal Pradesh had resigned? You are not answering this. And then you are saying 20 lakh crore. Morgan Stanley is saying that 20 lakh crore, the exact figure is 1,40,000
admits you are one of the most corrupt parties in the country. And you claim that he resigned.
Now no point. Can I please close the show? Gentlemen, I appreciate both of you joining us. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Vadakkar. As usual, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Professor Vallabh, taking up the time, joining us on this debate. But ultimately, it'll come down to the debate of Dole versus being Atmanirbhar. Whether it actually subscribed to these times, because these times were unprecedented. We've had these debates during election and nobody's really stood by the side of populism and political handouts. Was this different? We leave it for our viewers to decide. With that, I want to dip into the latest news break that's coming in right now from Delhi. Delhi's recorded a huge spike, unfortunately, in coronavirus positive cases. Numbers coming in, and I'm just reading them. 1,359 new coronavirus cases in Delhi in just the last 24 hours. We have recorded in Delhi 22 deaths in just the last 24 hours due to COVID-19. These are the numbers filtering in from the national capital. This is the breaking news that we're getting in, which prompts me right now to go across to our next story. Why is it that COVID-19 is extracting its biggest toll on cities? If you take just 3 cities, if you take the city of Chennai, Mumbai, Delhi, these 3 cities in total account for 44% of the cases that the entire country has. If you just look at the case of Ahmedabad, this one city comprises of 72% of the cases of entire Gujarat. Ahmedabad right now is recording a fatality rate, a case fatality rate, highest in the country. Why is it that our cities right now are most vulnerable? Our economic drivers right now, when the economy is looking up, are pretty much locked down. Why so? Take a look.
This is the story of the Indian city and the contagion. Day 4, Unlock 1.0. In midst of a steady spike in COVID cases, India is opening up. State administrations hoping to balance the economic cost of this pandemic. But 4 Indian cities, one of the biggest economic drivers of the country, are struggling to unlock, with the contagion toll still too high. The cities of Mumbai, Chennai and Delhi account for 44% of all cases in India. While Mumbai has more cases and deaths than the other 2 put together, Chennai's burden of cases proportionate to its population is higher than that of Delhi. Chennai's new cases are growing fast and beginning to show signs of outstripping even Delhi, which has twice as many people. Until the last week of April, cases were growing fastest in Mumbai. But first Chennai and now Delhi have faster daily growth rates than Mumbai. Now let's put the city of Ahmedabad in the picture. The city houses 72% of the total positive cases in the entire state of Gujarat. Moreover, with 87 deaths per million, Ahmedabad has a greater case fatality rate than any other city in India. Mumbai is close behind with 85 deaths per million. The number of deaths per million in these 2 cities is more than 25 times the national average. From Wuhan to New York to Sao Paulo to Moscow, to Mumbai to Ahmedabad to Delhi to Chennai, cities across the globe appear as hotspots of the pandemic. The virus is essentially anti-urban, reasons being high urban proportion and population density is the main correlation with COVID-19. Mass transit, parks, museums, cafes and multi-storied condominiums are the catalysts of rapid spread. Hyperdense cities have high urban poverty and poor access to health amenities. Late detection of cases, lack of timely access to healthcare facilities or faster community spread. Poor and sedentary lifestyle of urban middle class leads to comorbidities. While India's megacities depict an underlying global trend of registering highest COVID cases, there are a few cities who have bucked the trend. Like Bangalore, the tech capital of India, managed to insulate itself by taking timely measure aided by a civic society that followed the COVID rulebook. Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, with that, it's a wrap on To The Point. We're going to keep a keen eye on all the developments, especially the various cities in the country recording such a huge spike. Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.